Dilemma, overcoming the money obstacle. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa. I'm a marketing strategist. And today we have Fred Cary, CEO of IdeaPros. Hello, Fred.
Hey there. Hello, everybody.
I love this one. Barbara already said they say that money doesn't grow on trees, but we picked a picture that it can feel like money's growing on trees when you have access to the funds you need for your business. But
Exactly.
today, Fred's talking about overcoming the money obstacle. So I'll let you take it from here, Fred.
Yeah, lately that's something that we have been working on a lot. We started out with about 400 partners. We have about 100 that have not gone live yet. So there are a bunch of people out there rolling up their sleeves, being in their businesses, and they're finding here kind of the next level is that you need capital to grow quickly enough, and that's one of the things that most of us are not very prepared to go out and do. In fact, Tessa, you were talking to me earlier today that you're embarrassed to ask people for money, even for your services and things, right? And most of us are, much less asking for money to help build out your idea on something that is just starting out, which means it's very risky, very speculative. The beginning of any company, Airbnb could not raise $150,000 at $1.5 million valuation when they were starting out. Can you imagine if you invested then? But for every Airbnb, there's 1,000 companies that didn't work out. So it's very speculative. And so it's really hard for most of us to go ask people for that. The only way to really have a chance of getting it to separate yourself out from the crowd is to be able to know how to speak like an investor, know what an investor is looking for, and basically position yourself from a position of strength. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And Tessa is going to tell you that once a month we have a 2 to 3 hour workshop, free workshop. This one is called Pitchcraft, and it really dives deeply into all the elements of what you need to do. That's a cover photo. We'll go through a couple of the different parts of it, but we're going to leave out all the good stuff so that you can come watch our free show.
We're going to cover the funding piece of the Pitchcraft workshop. I will put the link in the chat so you guys have it, but it is fred.ideapros.com/pitchcraft. So we'd love to have you there, but I'm going to let Fred, he's going to go through these slides. So
I'm probably not even going to go through this.
He's not. Let's just be honest. I was waiting for him to tell me, never mind, just take that down.
You can put them up there, and I'll talk about that, because there's actually one before this that's going to be really, really important for all of us. But I would say also on that link that Tessa's giving, if you're watching this afterwards and it's a couple of weeks down the road, this is regular. So you just go on there, click on there, put in, what is it, an application or something, Tessa?
They just a couple pieces of information, and honestly, it's just email and name, and then we set up a time to chat with you so you can get in on the next event. That's how we're able to do this rolling event. But it's so good. I've had people that come out. I mean, Levi, and I know he'll probably be in the chat here momentarily, but Levi's, in the funding round, every time I hear him, he is improving his pitch so much, and he's pitching big people right now. So it's a good event.
Yeah, and I've had people attend 3 times in a row saying that they're learning something different every time. They're learning something different because I don't use a script and I'm saying something different. So it's my bad, but it keeps it interesting. So there's several rounds of funding that you need. And let me tell you why you need funding with almost any type of business you want to start: a consumer product, electronics, beauty brands, apps, almost anything. You really should think about the fact that you need funding for 2 major reasons. One, to give you the necessary fuel that you need to really get going, if you need that. Some of us, not me, some of us have plenty of money to bankroll everything for themselves, and they don't need that. But even if that were the case, you need funding mostly when you're really successful. That sounds weird and wrong, but think of it this way. You can only grow at a certain level with the capital that you're getting in from the business that you're growing. And if you're growing twice as much every single month, then the capital that you have to pay for this month is half the money that you made the month before. So you can only grow at a certain level, because as you're growing, not only is your revenue growing, but all your expenses are growing, and your expenses mostly take place before your revenue comes in. You have to buy more equipment, you have to buy more product, you have to hire more people, you have to do bigger distribution deals, whatever it is. All those expenses are front loaded, and the revenue comes in as a result. So you can only grow a finite level with your own cash flow. So success deems it necessary, if you want to really grow a business and not have it just be a small lifestyle business, success deems it necessary to bring in outside capital to help fuel that extraordinary growth that you're having. Most people say, extraordinary growth, I haven't sold my first widget yet. And that is the first thing that you sell is really that breaking point. Some other person paid me for what I thought was a good idea and is now my business. That's a marvelous point that you can get to. Not your first $1 million, not your first $1 billion, your first sale. And to get to that first sale, many of us need to go to our friends and family first. And that's one of the rounds that I don't have here. I'm going to explain some of the other rounds. But friends and family, it's critical. Those same people, if Airbnb used their friends and family for that $150,000, then most of them would be billionaires today, because 10% of that enormous organization is, I haven't calculated it, but you'd have hundreds of millions of dollars at least if you were part of that $150,000. So to be able to talk to friends and family, you have to do what Tessa was, what we're talking about, was not doing. She's embarrassed to talk to people, ask them for money, right? You have to get over that, because you're not going to survive without it. So what do you need to do in order to be confident when you speak to somebody, especially people near and dear to you? You have to have facts, you have to have knowledge, you have to understand the game, the competition, all the rules, the size of your market, the growth of your market opportunity. And those are all things that we discuss in Pitchcraft. It's the beginning of speaking like an investor to an investor. And the higher up you go in that food chain, the more important it is. Tessa, if you could put that slide back up, I want to go through these other groups. Okay, so think of pre-seed before seed, right? Seed is your first round that you're getting from outsiders, sophisticated outsiders, investors, and we'll talk more about who those people are. But before then, in a pre-seed round, you are going to try to get capital mostly from friends and family. My friends don't have any money. My family doesn't have any money. I hear that all the time. I heard that from two of our partners that are Canadian, two young men that are just launching their product now. It's an app. They didn't have any money to start with us. And they went out. I showed them how to pitch. They went out, and in 2 weeks, they got investments from 18 of the 20 people that they pitched in their network, and came back with $125,000 to build their project. 2 weeks, no prior experience. So there are people out there that are in your inner circle that have capital, $5,000 at a time, $10,000 at a time, that can help you get to the next stage that you have to get to. Those people are not going to sit there and ask you if you need money. They're not going to say anything more than niceties when you talk to them about your new project. So you really need to understand, one of the most important things you can do is that as the new CEO of your new company is make that company survive and work and grow. And you're not going to be able to do that if you're embarrassed to ask for money. So we're going to teach you how to arm yourself with knowledge that you need, so that you not only can pitch comfortably to them, but you have a much higher chance of succeeding, so that their investment in you turns out to be something that's profitable for them. So as you go up this food chain from seed to Series A, Series B, and beyond, you're going to have more and more sophisticated investors in your seed stage, which is basically the stage of I've launched my business, I've made some momentum, I need to get more capital now. I need to raise $500,000 to $3 million, somewhere in that range, to really propel me, bring in employees, get more equipment, buy inventory, do more advertising, those type of things. Those are your seed round investors. There's a combination of seed round investors. Some of them are angels, what they call angels, and some of them are pre-seed and seed venture capital firms, which are smaller venture capital firms. The angels, there you go, there's an angel. Does that suit have the money on it? So that particular angel group, a lot of times it's somebody who had their own business, one or more businesses, had a successful exit. They sold that business to some other big company for hundreds of millions of dollars in many cases. And now they're looking for something fun to do. And of course, they're going to go back to the well that they're familiar with. And they're going to look for opportunities out there in young startups that need help moving forward. So the good thing with our projects is that we've really positioned our companies in a place where we can show the market opportunity, we can show the path to revenue, and we have everything laid out strategically in a good way. So those people are sophisticated enough that they want to have fundamental information from you about market size, market growth, 3-year projections of where you think the company is going to be, but they don't dig so deeply that you're going to spend months and months and months trying to go through all the data points that you probably don't even know. That's the angels. Once you get to the VCs, it's game over as far as being able to wing it. You have to have all your data points. Every single slide has to have numbers associated with it. You need to understand those numbers. You need to be prepared when one of the VCs, an analyst, that's all they do, says to you, okay, on year 2 of your assumptions here in November, I see this one cell that moved from this number to 28% higher when all your other ones are 21% higher. Why is there a discrepancy? I don't know, but you better have an answer, because when the fewer answers you know, the less likely you're going to get money from VCs. And then the final one is corporate investors. We're working with that right now. We have a project where a major beauty retailer, multinational retailer, is going to be the first investor in this company. And this particular company is something that is near and dear to what this retailer does already. So those corporate investors are entities that are likely have similar products, look at what you're doing as an enhancement to their own portfolio of companies, and they will give you money many times at a premium with the hopes that you're going to succeed, and then they'll be able to either introduce your product into their chain of stores, or even better, that they'll come and acquire you and have you run the company as a division of what they're doing. So those are the 3 main types of investors that you're going to be facing.
Beautiful. And I just have to say, Fred, that Odin says Fred is sharing pearls right now. So we've got a lot of information a lot of feedback in the chat. So a good deal will find the money, and the money wants to find the good deal. You just have to remember to share your ideas like a pro. Thanks, Odin. Yes. And now we have one more slide, and I know that we have a lot of people who joined. So I'm going to come back to you in a minute here. Thank you.
Yeah. So here's one of the things that we end up getting in trouble with. And it's really kind of ethical, emotional, passion-driven. You started your company because you woke up one day, or you woke up many days, and thought, this is great. Nobody's doing this. I want to do this. I want to change my life. I want to make something different, and I think I can pull this off. Most of us, including me, don't realize how damn hard it is. It's really, really hard. Building it is hard. Getting ready to launch is hard. Launching is hard. But then after that, it's even harder, because now you have a real company that you have to grow from something that is nothing. And it's very hard to do. And you can lose your way very quickly. You can end up bringing in money because you need that money, but you can bring in money that's not going to align with your goals. You can bring in venture capital money too early, for example, and they're going to sit on your board of directors, and they're going to have all sorts of superior rights. Even though they have a majority share, they can outvote you in certain instances. They could force you to sell before you want to sell. They could change your model that you thought is your best model going forward. Now, sometimes they're right, and you need to be able to listen. But sometimes you want to be in a certain position in a certain place, and you end up way over here. So whenever you're taking money from any investor of any nature, you really need to think about, what is this experience going to be over the long haul? Because when you take a check, you're taking a responsibility to have a relationship with that person or that organization. So before you say yes to taking a check, I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? Somebody's trying to give you a check. But before you say yes, really think, is this going to mess me up at all? Is this a passive investor that believes in what I'm doing and wants to go along for the ride? Or is this somebody or some organization that opportunistically sees what I'm doing and maybe is going to try to control me as I build out what my vision is, and it turns out to be their vision instead? So be really careful of that. That's a hard one because, wow, somebody wants to give me money, but it's really important because it can make your dream get shattered.
All right. Well, that's all of the slides that we have, Fred. But I don't know if we have questions from anybody in the chat. If you guys have questions for funding, I saw you, Vanessa. You said, yes, we need capital. So everybody does, I think, in this chat.
Yeah. And I do have, I'm assuming that most people get our newsletter.
Yes. I wasn't sure if you were going to talk about that.
Yeah. So we do have, in fact, we just sent out our latest newsletter this morning. We do have, and I'll tell you some of the details because it's third party, doesn't really have anything to do with us. But we do have a financier organization that has approached us and successfully did 5 deals for us so far. What they are looking for, they have a very novel funding approach, but they can do pre-seed capital in around the $100,000 range. And to qualify for it, you just need good credit and a steady job and a good idea and a desire to work with IdeaPros because they have me vet the ideas. So obviously, if you're already an IdeaPros partner and you're trying to get capital for inventory or advertising, you want to launch, they will work with you. If you are somebody who is a founder or an entrepreneur and wants to start their own business, they will work with you. So that is 100,000, I think, is their minimum. They might go lower, and they can go higher. And it's a pretty sweet deal. And you're pretty much, as long as you meet that criteria of being financially responsible, I think you have to have a certain credit score, maybe upward around 700 or so, and have a full-time job. That's all you really need. Plus my approval that this is something that I believe in. You can actually go, Tessa, maybe we should give out that funding page. And there is a password. To be able to get the password, you're going to have to contact somebody on the team to get that password to use, because it's not for everybody. It's only people that work with us. So Tessa, can you put that out there?
Yeah, I'll put it on. So to get in touch with us, you can comment on here to get the password. We'll get the team in front of you, because you'll literally go there and you have to enter the password.
Yeah, but Tessa, but people who watch this later, I mean, is it info@IdeaPro? Who do they contact?
Yes, you can info@IdeaPros, and you can you guys know you can chat with us on the Facebook page or any of the channels that we have. It all comes into the same place for us because we have the technology. So you can reply with funding. So just type in comment funding, and we'll get back in touch with you to make sure that you can get access to that page.
Yeah. So again, info@ideapros.com, and you can just say, I want the password for the funding page. Whatever, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
And Vanessa, I'm going to send you a message so you have that password.
Okay. All right. Well, that's really all I have. We do have about 2 or 3 hours that we go deeply into this subject. And again, I tell CEOs, founders, if you're going to be a CEO in today's world, you have to be a financial CEO. You have to understand money. You have to understand what it will do to your growth, and you have to be knowledgeable enough to go out and get it. Again, I'll give you another little hint. Most of us want to go out when we do our pitch decks. What do we want to talk about? Revolutionary, one of a kind, no competitors. This is going to change the world. Those are the types of things that we want to talk about. Think about hearing those things from an investor. From an investor's point of view. An investor's going to hear revolutionary. Well, how many revolutions have you won before? No competitors. Well, to an investor, no competitor means no demand. And changing the world, you know what? That's a big ask. So even investors that will come in really early don't want to hear words like revolution. They'd rather hear evolution than revolution, right? This is a proven market that's growing very quickly, and there's this big hole in this marketplace, and I have the technology or the product or the set of products that's going to fill that hole. So we already have a demand. We already have competitors. Nobody's doing this part of it. I am. That makes an investor a lot more comfortable, and we'll talk a lot more about that February 1st. What is that, 4 p.m. Pacific?
4 to 6, 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. And he really does go a little bit over. Not always, but you're actually breaking out and practicing with each other, which is super helpful just to get, peer-to-peer time, as well as have Fred go through and not critique. You help them tweak. You help them improve.
I kind of beat the crap.
It too. He kind of does. But like he said, I think Christine, this was her 3rd time coming, and she loved it. I know, Mark, this would be great for you. And Martin, I saw you, Martin, likewise. You haven't been to one yet. You guys have to just come. Odin, we'd love to have you too. It'd be really fun. But it is on the 1st from 4 to 6 p.m. You can sign up at the Pitchcraft link that I'm going to put on the screen one more time, and it's also in the chat. But thank you all so much for being here, and thank you, Fred, for all of the information and wisdom that you always share with us.
I appreciate it. And by the way, as I tell my children, wisdom comes from years of making terrible mistakes. So.
There you go. Thank you, Fred. Bye. All right, everyone. I just hope you have a wonderful weekend. I want to take 2 seconds and just say hi to, I know Zwizzy over there. Vanessa, I don't think I saw your link recent in the chat just now, but I'm going to go ahead and put up, I saw Sage in there. William, Bill, if you want to put your link for High Rise Sports Chair, that would be great. But Sage, Scheduler, Kelly, and Sean, they're doing such a great job marketing. I don't know if I'd love to have Sean come to the Pitchcraft event. I think that would be a blast. Odin, I know you're raising funds. You raised funds already. That's awesome. How long did it? I'm looking for your comments because that was pretty good. Oh, I can't find it now. Oh, go figure. I think you said it was, it's taken 6 months to raise 280,000, but 100 worth the effort, 110%. That's awesome. And I just want you guys to get one more little word of encouragement in throughout this process, and that's that you can't give up. Okay, I know that you all hear this from us on a regular basis, but it really does feel like you're walking through molasses at times, and you get to that point where you're launching your website, or you found out your quote for manufacturing, and you're right at that brink of like, what do I do next? And that money holds you back. I really, really want to encourage you to just reach out to IdeaPros. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But what's the harm in trying to figure out if that's something that you can do? So I'll just leave it with that. I hope to see you all. That's amazing, Odin. Good job. I hope to see you all at the Pitchcraft event February 1st, but sign up fast. But sign up within the next day or two, because we do want to get you on a phone call and make sure it's a good fit for you before you attend. So you sign up right away and book a time with Jose or myself. We just want to make sure that you're committed to being there, because we do go into breakout rooms. And it's a little awkward if you're like popping in and out and you don't know what we're doing at the time that you come into a breakout room. So we like for people to say, yes, I'm going to commit to being here and give it my 100% attention for that 2 hours. And of course, if you have any funding questions, you can ask that at the end. So thank you all so much for being here. We'll see you next week, noon Pacific time every Friday. Have a blessed week, everyone. Bye.